Here we go. That was so
There we
smooth,
are.
Rob.
All right.
Nice job.
Sweet.
That's awesome. So everybody out there, we are now live with Coach Rob Bishop. He's out of South Dakota State University. Jackrabbits, he's been the head coach there for 4 seasons. So this is awesome. We're bouncing around the country. We're up in the high plains, South Dakota. He's got his Easton hat on today. How's life out there? How's the weather?
You know, it's one. I never complain about good weather in the spring, but this year with no games in most of the season, we've had a great spring. So it's that's just one of the ironies of life. We've had a great spring. We could have played and been outside to practice, and here we are now doing work down at the yard or playing golf or doing whatever we can do to enjoy the outdoors.
At least you're able to get out of the house. You know, that's the good news.
Yep.
All right, so let me give everybody a little rundown on you. So you've been coaching for 20 years. You got 620 plus wins under your belt. You've been a coach at a JUCO in Montana. You've been coached at D2 Montana Billings. So you've bounced around. You've been at different levels, which I think is awesome. You get to know what players are like at different places. You played at Jamestown College. You were a 1992 and 1994 NAIA All-American infielder. Awesome career for you. So this was a tough season. Everything was cut short. We know that. What are you and your guys on the team doing to kind of stay ready for when we do get back on the field?
Well, you know, kind of the makeup of our roster, I would say that 75% of our guys were 2 or 3 or 4 sport athlete type guys from the Midwest. You know, played quarterback, played point guard. So that those guys were used to shifting from season to season, and I just think they're the kind of guys that you know, they stay in shape, they treat their bodies well. You know, our guys love the weight room, they love to work out, so I'm not too worried about the fitness level and all of that. Obviously you have guys from tiny little small towns that have no access to any indoor or any field, depending on whether they're open or not, and then you have guys in metro areas that maybe are in a little bit better situation. So our guys all know kind of our basic drill set and series, and they've got a good routine built. We've communicated with them, you know, regularly within their position groups and individually, and as team with Zoom or Facebook Live or Instagram Live, whatever you know, they want to use or we want to use. So I feel good about our guys and their preparedness, and they're still, some of those guys are still holding out hope that we have some summer ball. You know, I have my doubts whether that's going to happen or not, but just staying ready, that's our job.
Yeah, I mean, so let's shift for a second. You're up there close to Northwoods League. Like, what are you hearing? Are summer leagues going to play up there?
You know, the Expedition League is kind of a new league in the Dakotas, and they're planning on starting in July, having players report mid-June. I think the Northwoods League is you know, it's a different animal because it covers 4, 5, 6 states, so they have a lot more you know, kind of local government and city ordinance stuff that really needs to happen in order for them to travel state to state. So they're still on hold. Our volunteer actually coaches up in St. Cloud, great franchise and a great league. They're kind of hearing, well, they might just, you know, have almost a Minnesota league just to have baseball up there, but it's still really up in the air.
Yeah, it's real fluid still. No one really knows what's going to happen. Hey,
Yep.
what would you tell some kids at home, like youth players at home, like if they're looking for something to do, what would you have them work on? And you mentioned, like, a lot of the guys that you've recruited and have at school are multi-sport athletes, guys who play different sports. How important is that for the development in a kid's career to be good at different things and work different muscles and stuff?
You know, for me, I feel like that's our wheelhouse guy, the guy that hasn't been a 10-month-a-year, 11-month-a-year baseball-only guy. You know, small town South Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa kid, like those guys blow up when they start to focus on one sport. So I'd tell kids, you know, hey, just to be kids, if you have access to play hoops or you know, ride your skateboard or play golf, doesn't matter. I mean, to me, you're cross training without trying to. There's so many great programs out there. Obviously, you know, anybody that really cares can go on any of the social media venues and find great coaching. It doesn't matter where you're from. I mean, you can be from a 500 population town in South Dakota and listen to the same guys you and I would listen to, you know, about infield. Go get on and listen to Trotsky about infield, or you know, listen to the ABCA stuff, or any number of other things, just to get some ideas. But yeah, just being active, and I think trying to build a routine where guys that have the ability to are outside and they're moving and they're just basically kind of cross training, whether they do that in a gym or whether they do that by playing pickup games with their buddies.
Okay, so now tell us, that's great stuff for the kids out there. They can be doing all kinds of things to stay ready. I want to make sure that we talk a little bit about your program up there in Brookings. Like, tell us about your facility. Tell us about the school real quick. You guys travel a lot. I mean, you guys are constantly on the road because of the weather. This is the first school we've got to talk to where you're really impacted by cold weather. So tell us a little bit about all that and what that looks like.
Well, we pretty much, with a February start, we're pretty much plan on being on the road till April 1st. So we're 6 weekends. We're gone in a row. Usually there's spring break in the middle there. So this year, yeah, I'm sure you looked at our schedule. We had K-State for 2 in the middle, yep, you know, between Air Force and starting conference play. And so, like, our guys have to be self-sufficient academically. They have to be tough guys. And they, you know, if you play 30 of your 50 games or 35 of your 50 games on the road, you know, you're starting behind the 8 ball. So you can't, I mean, that kind of stuff can't bother you. So we've really tried to build a culture of, you know, there's no excuse. So we've got a great indoor facility. We've practiced all over the country, traveling early indoors. We haven't found a better indoor facility than ours. It's an unbelievable, brand new, 3, 4, 5 years old. You know, we've got access to, you know, basically the ability to scrimmage, full infield, outfield, you know, you name it, we can do it inside. So our guys are ready. And I think the kid that fits here, you know, they're not afraid of winter. They're not afraid of weather. A lot of our guys like to hunt and fish and be in the outdoors.
Yeah.
You know, so the guy that stays here, it's not because they have to, it's because they like the Midwest and they like to, you know, they probably want to be within 4 or 5 hours of home. And our guys develop. We've had a lot of guys in pro ball. We've had a lot of guys. I think we had 8 all conference guys last year. So, like, our guys are getting better.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, it was awesome to research the program and see how many guys have gone pro from South Dakota State. Like, you got a guy in the big leagues right now, Blake Treinen. Like, you guys are putting dudes in the big leagues, and I think what you just said is, you know, you got a gritty type of guy up there who can go on the road, grind it out. I think in 2018, I looked online, and you played 6 games at home in the entire season. So these guys are getting it done in the classroom and on the field, sitting in a bus or a plane. And what I also thought was cool is, so like this year, you guys came all the way to California, played at UOP, tough series up there, and you played a tough series at DBU, one of the top 20 teams in the country. So you're challenging the program with great competition. Talk a little bit about that schedule you put together.
Well, I think, you know, I honestly look at it through the eyes of a player. We try to play all over the country in a guy's 4-year career. So, you know, a couple of years ago it was Florida, Alabama, Arkansas. This year we did some Texas, we did some California. You know, we've been obviously into Missouri, over to Air Force a couple of times, K-State this year, opened at Oklahoma State my first year here. So we're not building our schedule to say, hey, our goal is to be 40-10. I mean, you play those kind of teams on the road, you're hoping to have a chance on Sunday to win a series, right? You don't have any aspirations of going 20-3 on your first swing. So, you know, our guys love it. Like, it's great to show up and play at great venues and find obviously great weather and just, you know, kind of just measure up. See how you measure up. If you you think you're a great player, how do you compare to Oklahoma State shortstop or center fielder or DBU? I mean, you look at, I think we saw 7 guys above 95 down there. I mean, that's the real deal. I mean,
That's real deal.
and we had chances to win 2 out of 3 of those games. I
You
mean,
did. I looked. I mean, I think you went, your record doesn't show it, but you guys lost 5 games by 1 run and another 2 by 2 runs. So you're in all these games. It's close. And my God, that grind is tough being on the road so long. So it was so close.
Yep.
All right. We got a few minutes left, so I want to touch on another couple things. So you got a really good assistant coach on your staff too, Brian, who I talked to a decent amount with, dealing with equipment.
Yep.
That's a guy with a lot of experience. So how much does that help to have a good crew around you for recruiting and for coaching and on the road so much? You got to lean on your guys.
Yeah, Brian's like having another head coach. I mean, he's been in the game for 35 years. And if there's a kid within 6 hours of here, Grunsky knows his coach or somebody to call or somebody to talk to. I mean,
Sure.
He is locked in the Midwest as far as, being able to cross-check kids with scouts or with high school guys or club guys or summer ball, Legion baseball. Like, he's just a great resource from a recruiting standpoint. He also coaches our infielders, and man, he just does a great job day to day, just, in the dirt with those guys, developing those guys. We've had some really, really good players, and I think kind of one of the things that we preach is we play pretty boring baseball on defense. We're trying to throw strikes and make plays, and Grunsky does a great job with our infielders. I mean, every year we're in the top couple teams in our league, fielding 965, 970 as a group, and really give our pitching staff a chance to be successful and feel like they can throw it over the plate.
Hey, real quick. So I got one question left. Do you think that Midwest baseball, South Dakota, that area out there, is it underrated?
I think it is. I think if you, if you take our league, for example, us or North Dakota State, Minnesota, obviously everybody understands how good they are, and Iowa is.
I would say, timeout. Let me stop. You beat Minnesota at US Bank Park this year, so that was a huge win.
Yeah, we got them. We got Kansas State the first night of that midweek series, and like I think for me, after we get 15 games under our belt, and we get into the season a little bit, obviously, even though we have a great indoor, it still isn't the same as playing outside on your field, right? There's some mistakes that you make or some runs that you leave out there that you feel like, you should have had. But I definitely feel like there's a lot of parity in baseball right now in the Midwest. I mean, the Big Ten has really improved as a league. Holy cow, we cross over with those guys a lot. I mean, it's good baseball, as good as anywhere. We played Alabama last year. We played in the Big 12. You play teams like DBU or Okie State, and man, it's hard for me to say. They play a different style of baseball for sure, but like, who's better? I think it's who pitches better that day. Honestly,
Sure.
I mean, it's good baseball teams, and or just a really different approach to the game in each league.
Got it. Hey, well, and that's why we love having you as a member of Team Easton and bringing you on for something like this. It exposes Midwest baseball, South Dakota State to the country. You guys play a top-notch schedule. You win big games. You put guys in pro ball. You put guys in the major leagues. We love having you on board Team Easton with us, Rob. Make sure all the jackrabbits are safe out there. Stay ready to come back. Last words for everybody?
Just don't let yourself get buried in the moment. I mean, think about the big picture. We're gonna come out of this okay. Try to stay positive, and just be a resource for the people around you.
Perfect. Hey, thanks for coming on with us today. Stay safe out there. Say hi to Grunsky for me.
I will.
Okay,
Thanks.
take it easy, guys.
Appreciate it, Brian. See ya.